Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. It has been quite a while since I came on and did a video, and so I'm just popping in with sort of a really long art journal with me. And so this is my little summer stories journal, and I just showed you there some pages that I had already completed. But for the month of July, I did follow the Junk Journal July prompts. I didn't actually do junk journaling. I actually just followed along with the prompts and used the prompts as jumping off points for art journal spreads. And so I just flipped through there in the beginning really quickly of all the ones that I created. I don't actually know what days these following spreads were made from which prompt. But I know there was a prompt that was called like frame, and so that's what this first one is. But this video is basically going to be multiple journal spreads. So I'm going to be working through, I think, I want to say three different journal spreads. And so this is the first one, and it's just going to be a very long, kind of quick, maybe, I don't know, journal with me video. And yeah, it's just me just playing with my supplies and getting back into my journals in a creative, get messy sort of way. I did pull out a lot of my paints. I pulled out my inks and my pencils and my Neo colors and like all the things. And I am just flexing those creative muscles because I haven't done art journaling in, oh my God, in ages. Like, I mean, for one, if you've been following around long enough, you would know that I've just kind of been in a dry spell, just all around creatively. Like, videos don't go up as often as they used to do anymore. Half of that, I think a big part of that has been just, last year was a very hard year for me emotionally. And so that kind of, affected my creativity and how I shared and how I created. And yeah, that's why there wasn't that many videos at a certain point in 2022. And it sort of carried on into 2023, but this year has been a little bit different in that I think emotionally and mentally I'm better. Like I'm in a better headspace, if you will. And like I've kind of done all of that internal work. It's more of just the creative mojo, like kind of being, I guess, creatively burnt out. But I've been journaling. I've been journaling and I've been, I guess, memory keeping, but not like how I used to memory keep. But I just haven't been filming any of it or sharing it like I used to. And I don't quite understand why that is. It's just I guess been finding little pockets of creative time within my very busy days now, and it's just been really nice not having to turn the camera on, make sure that the batteries are charged and that the lighting is good and all the things, right? To get creative. But when July came around, I really wanted to do the Junk Journal July prompts. As I am recording this voiceover, it is the ending of July, and I can tell you that I did not do all the prompts. I did not make it all the way through to July, but I did do some prompts, and for me that is a win, only because of just how my schedule is and the fact that I've like just haven't created in this way in a very long time. But I really wanted to follow along with the prompts and sort of challenge myself to get back into art journaling because that is something that I remember really enjoying and really enjoying whenever I felt like sad and really emotionally overwhelmed and depressed and stuff, and like it's always helped with anxiety and all the things like that. And kind of what I went through last year, like just it didn't help. I didn't want to do it. I had no motivation to do it because it just didn't it wasn't helping. What was helping was journaling, like straight up writing out my feelings. And so I've kind of just been in that practice of writing. I'm always writing. Like I have a separate journal that I keep that I did share, um, and just kind of consuming knowledge and writing and sitting with my feelings and all the things. And so that's kind of what I've been doing. But as I've gotten better, sort of mentally and emotionally, one thing I realized was like creativity has kind of suffered through like all of this. It's just I lost something there. And I know for a fact that I lost a big part of who I am, just in general, just with everything that I went through last year. Um, I did lose me, and I think I talk about that in my heart video. Just the fact that like I kind of felt like I lost some of me. I'm definitely a very different person than I was then. Um, but yeah, I just kind of wanted this year to just kind of come back to myself. And I know a big part of that, and a big part of my word for the year, which is heart, is to kind of come back to creativity and see, if I can get back into some sort of art journaling flow, because I do miss art journaling. It's very weird. Like I've always separated art journaling from like memory keeping and scrapbooking, because to me they're like completely different things. Art journaling is more creative in the sense that I'm kind of getting down my feelings and onto the page. A lot of times it's about the process, and not so much the outcome. Where I think for scrapbooking it's very much so about the outcome. And I've always kind of separated the two, but since I've stopped kind of traditionally scrapbooking, I still have been memory keeping, but more so in a journal. And I've just been combining all the things, right? Like my little journals here, they're usually a mixture of memory keeping and journaling and art journaling. Like they're just kind of like a catch-all of everything. And I've just been doing a lot more of the journaling lately, and the memory keeping too. I mean, since I kind of haven't been leaving the house to do much of anything or see anybody, I haven't really been taking photographs. And so I haven't been memory keeping in that way. But when I do it in these little books. Um, but yeah, like I haven't been art journaling. And unlike with scrapbooking and traditional memory keeping like that, I don't really miss the scrapbooking, but I do miss the art journaling, and I miss getting creative and like using all of my art supplies in that way. And so that's been a really big thing that I wanted to get back to. And so I figured that, hey, I can use this journal prompt challenge to get back into that. And whenever you go back into the flow of whatever the creative process that you had, um, it's like a learning curve. Like I always feel like you're rusty right at the beginning of it. Like I don't know what to do on the page, and like everything that I do kind of sucks and I don't like it. Like, so I want to say here that a lot of these journaling pages that I'm doing right now on camera, I don't particularly like them. Like they're not pages that I like, or like I love, I should say. I love some elements of it I like, but it's generally not something that old me would have shared, Um, but there's that saying that you sometimes you just need to make the bad art, or this the bad art that you think is bad, because what I've realized is that anytime I create a page that I'm not completely thrilled with and that I personally don't like, everybody else loves. And it's so bizarre. And then the stuff that you really love and that you think is great and all this stuff, it's not as great. Like other people don't think it's as great as you think it is. It's so weird how like our perception is just so different of everyone else's. And so I think about that a lot. And so I figured, I was already working on these pages. So like the page before the frame page, I was already working on that, but I just didn't turn on the camera. And so when I finish that page, I'm just like, I'm in such a zone right now. I'm going to sit down and do a couple more pages. I should really just film this, only because I haven't been filming anything to share. And since I'm doing this, um, I thought, maybe everybody would want to see the process of me just kind of trying to figure out all of it again, trying to figure out my flow and like what I like to do on the pages and all the things. And I know I'm not explaining everything that I did, and I don't think I am. I'm just kind of just going to talk about where I've been on this video, but that's pretty much this video. Like all these spreads are just me playing with the prompts and just seeing what I can create and seeing how I can use my supplies and all the things that I just have on my desk. And so, yeah, I just kind of figured, you know what, let me turn on the camera. Let me turn on the camera and let me film some of these things. And you'll see that like the lighting tends to shift a lot in this particular video. I am doing I believe it's three separate spreads in here. And they were all created in a span of a couple of days. And so, like, especially the ones where I heavily used mixed media and I had to wait for things to dry, those were done over a couple of days, like maybe 2 or 3 days. And that's just the nature of the current time that I have available to be creative and to work in my journals or do anything of that sort. And this is just proof that you can just take 10 to 15 minutes in your day to do a portion of a page and then come back later and finish it, or just add another element to the page. Like some of these pages sat on my desk for a couple of days because I just didn't have time to finish them in the way that I deemed the page would be finished. You know, I would do ink splatters and then I would just wait for those ink splatters to dry. And then usually I worked at night because that's the time that I have. And so a lot of the times I'm waiting for something to dry and like I get tired. I'm like, let me start getting to bed and stuff like that. And so I'll come back to it the next day. I try to match the lighting with the previous, day's lighting. But if you see like shifts in the light and the composition and things like that, it's because it took me, multiple days to finish a lot of these pages. And that's just because I found little windows of, little pockets of time in my day or in my week, really, to kind of sit down and do something in my journal. But overall, I think I was able to create, like for the month of July, I was able, specifically for the Junk Journal July, I was able to create maybe like 10 to 12 spreads. Not all of them that I've shared. I would create these art journaling spreads, but sometimes I would in the middle of them I would just do some memory keeping or do some journaling. Like if something happened that I wanted to get down in my journal, I'll just write about it. But like double page spreads, I did about maybe 10. I want to say 10 or 11 of them. Um, I know there was some that I did just like one side of the page and then the other side had like journaling, like personal journaling. But as far as the spreads, 10 is great for someone who hasn't art journaled in, oh my goodness, I want to say like a year and a half. I think doing 10 spreads, double page spreads, is amazing. And I'm quite proud that I was able to get that much done and like find the time to like get all of that stuff done. And yeah, I'm just, you know, I I I'm pretty sure a lot of you are like me and you know, things have to be perfect or things have to look good or they have to come out the way that you want them to. I've found a freedom doing this and like getting back into my journals in this artsy way in that I don't have to do things perfectly. I don't even have to like what I'm doing to just get something down on the page. It's been so fun just to sit down and just smear paint. I always start with a layer of white gesso and just to that sort of motion of just getting a blob of it down, and then adding some graphite marks and some marks with the Caran d'Ache Neocolor, and then just splattering the page with ink. Just something about that process just feels good to me. And I think I'm trying really hard to get that feeling back of when I first discovered art journaling. This was ages ago. Oh my goodness. It was like it's been about 10 years since I discovered scrapbooking, and I discovered art journaling a little before that. So almost a decade ago. And I mean, art journaling and how I know it. I've always kept a sketchbook since I was an art kid. I went to a fine arts high school and stuff. I've always kept a sketchbook. Uh, but I feel like an art journal is a little different than a sketchbook. For me, sketchbook was always getting ideas out and stuff, whereas an art journal feels more finished, feels more polished. Um, but yeah, I just remember like kind of discovering this new creative outlet and the community online around it. And it just felt so good. Like there's that quote, there's magic in new beginnings, that idea. And it's just I've written a lot of blog posts about that too, about just that feeling, that magical feeling about starting something new, you know, and kind of like if I can bottle that feeling up in like a jar and like, use some of it every time I want to feel that, that would be amazing. But I've only ever felt it when I've discovered something new that I like really enjoy and that really fills me. And, art journaling and scrapbooking don't feel that way anymore because I'm so used to it and I'm so used to the process. And so I think leaving art journaling for like a year and a half and like coming back to it, I don't really feel it's not that same feeling, but I did feel really good when I sat down and did these pages throughout this past month. It was a different feeling. It was a very different feeling. And like there's so many new supplies that I want to try out and like do like create with. And a lot of them that I have, like I bought like so many alcohol inks, the Tim Holtz alcohol inks, and I've had them, oh my God, probably for a year now, and I just haven't sort of sat down and figured out how to use them. I even bought a book about alcohol ink art, and like I just haven't, I guess haven't found the time, like haven't made the time to sit down and use that. I've always wanted to do paper collages. So an artist that I really love is Elizabeth St. Hilaire, and she uses a jelly plate one to make her own pattern papers, and then she uses those papers that she makes to do what she calls paper paintings. And like I've always wanted to take a workshop with her, but I did end up buying her one of her books. Like you can get e-courses too, but she has like PDFs that you can get from her shop, or she gives you an option to buy them through Blurb, and you can get like it bound. So I got her Fabulous Florals class in like book form, and I read through it. I finished it, like the book, but I haven't actually done any of the practices, and that's something that I want to do. But I was always been I've been hesitant at getting a jelly plate because for some reason I feel like I would just create mud using it. But it just seems so cool that I might just invest in a jelly plate and just try it out. Maybe like one of the small ones because they're quite expensive, and just try it out and make my own papers and do these collage paintings because it's something that I'm interested in doing. I feel like if I dive into something that's unfamiliar or new in that way, maybe I'll feel that feeling of excitement again. But yeah, all that to say that I really enjoyed the time that I took out creating these pages. Like even if it was just like 10 minutes a day and I didn't know where to start or what to do, I just kind of threw stuff down onto the page, to be quite honest, and saw what came from it and just went with the flow of what occurred. Because you know, a lot of the times I've noticed that whenever I want to art journal, I'm the type of person that feels like they need to be inspired to like do anything. And I realize like if I keep living my life like that, I will never do anything. Um, and so sometimes if you have to just sit down and make something even when you don't feel like it or when you're not inspired to, because if you wait for inspiration to strike, you'll just be waiting. So a lot of these pages, I'm just like, well, I have a prompt. I have no idea what I'm going to do with that, like in response to that prompt. But you know what? Let's just throw some paint down. Let's throw some tissue paper. Let's make some scribbles and see what happens. And so that's kind of the process that I've been taking with making these pages. And I've really enjoyed it, surprisingly. And I kind of wish I had more time. I wish I had more time in that, like, I really want to get back into the flow of making videos and sharing what I've been making. It's just video making is so time consuming, which is why I'm bundling these three processes into one and like just kind of doing this kind of talk over as you see me work through my art. Um, because it's just so time consuming to kind of create a video and like if you're going to do a voiceover, do the voiceover and then sit down and edit everything. For me, since my time has been very, very limited lately, um, it's been easier just to put the camera on and not speak through the video at all and just let you watch the process and then do a voiceover like this. Um, and yeah, a lot of times I'm just chatting. I'm just chatting. I'm not even talking about what I'm doing on the screen. I'm literally just chatting with you. And it's just for me, it's the way that I can share at the moment, right? I wish I had more time where I can do more polished videos and actually like walk you through everything. But I find that these sort of quick processes, like sped up processes with a voiceover, are the easiest to do right now to be able to share, as well as flip throughs. I always find that flip throughs are some of my favorite. I love flipping through my journals. They're some of my favorite videos to watch, and they're some of my favorite videos to make because I like that aspect of sharing something that has been finished, has been completed, especially a journal. And so, flip through videos will always be coming because that for me is the happy spot. I love sharing those things, but I really would love to get some more of these little processes, some more journal with me's because I haven't made a journal with me in a very long time and to share them. Maybe not in this way, but this is what I have. This is what I'm able to produce right now. But I really hope that you enjoyed this video and enjoyed watching me create these pages, even if I didn't explain everything. My process for all of them was kind of same: paint, some scribbles, some marks, some ink splatters, and then some element of collage. I've been using a lot of these things that I've cut apart from Daphne's Diary magazines. I have a little bowl on my desk that has all of them. Getting some of that done, like getting some of that used and getting my paints used and some scrap papers and stuff like that. And some of these pages have little sayings and some of them don't. But yeah, I just kind of really hope you enjoyed this, even though I kind of like talked through the whole thing. But that's where I've been, and I'm hoping, I'm really hoping, like I always am, to you know show up more often. I just need to kind of prioritize my time better. A lot of the times I find that I'm just on YouTube watching other people's content. That's I kind of like my mental capacity right now, right? But this journal is almost over. Like it's almost finished. It's almost full, and I think I'm just gonna keep it till the ending of July. So um, definitely, there's going to be a flip through, like a chatty flip through coming of it. And like I really want to make. I haven't made my August journal yet, and I really want to make one for like August, September. And so I'm thinking maybe I'll make that on camera. Hopefully, if I find the time, I can make that on camera and share the process of just creating a little journal. Um, but yeah, just wanted to pop on and share this. Really hope you enjoyed watching this video and hearing me chat. And I really hope you're all well. And thank you so much for watching. And I will see you all next time. Bye.